This is the JNICE Elastic Elves 6 Pro, and it's an exciting video because I'm covering a new brand for the first time on the channel today. Some of you might have come across JNICE in online forums, but as a young and upcoming badminton brand, JNICE has sponsored this video for me to tell you more about their Elastic Elves 6 Pro badminton racket, one of their flagship rackets that they've developed. If you're wondering about JNICE's other well-known flagship racket, the Black Panther, don't worry, a video of that is also coming soon. For those of you who are not familiar with the brand, JNICE is actually not called JNICE. Because of their Taiwanese roots, it's actually pronounced JNICE. However, for those who doesn't speak Mandarin, this is almost impossible to pronounce, hence I fed this back to the team at JNICE, saying I'll be calling them JNICE in my video to help everyone who doesn't speak Mandarin. Before I go in depth about the Elastic Elves 6 Pro, I wanted to zoom out slightly and quickly go through JNICE's racket series as they have a fairly wide range. There are a total of 7 racket series, and top of the list is certainly their Legend series. The Legend series is JNICE's flagship series, which includes the Black Panther racket as well as this Elastic Elves 6 Pro. Obviously, the other racket series are split into more traditional badminton racket categories where qualities such as speed or attacking capability are the main focus of each of their respective series. There's certainly something for everyone. So when JNICE sent over the Elastic Elves 6 Pro, the first thing that I immediately noticed was this is a super compact head with a super slim shaft alongside a pretty long handle, all pointing towards an aggressive, fast racket. The colour scheme was pretty simple: pearl, gold and silver. However, I'll be honest and say the font used for the actual racket name on its shaft isn't one of my favourites. I personally prefer cleaner, more modern looking fonts which were actually present throughout the rest of the racket, but I guess the JNICE team was going for a more mythical, sweet, soft vibe. In terms of the actual product finishing, I do like the gold on pearl finishing all over the racket, especially when it's matte too. Extra point also goes to the grip, where the textured grip featured gold JNICE logo and lettering. Additional bonus points also go towards the embossed elven wings on the inside of the racket frame around the 3 and 9 o'clock region of the racket. It's pretty cool. In terms of the actual specs of the Elastic Elves 6 Pro, one of its key standout feature is its extra slim solid shaft, which I measured at 6.3mm, which also makes it the joint thinnest shaft that I've measured so far on the channel. The other two rackets that share the same 6.3mm diameter shaft are flagship rackets from JNICE with their Astrox 100ZZ and Li-Ning's own Axe Force 100. That's pretty good company to be in. JNICE also say that the shaft for the Elastic Elves 6 Pro is a solid carbon shaft which provides good repulsion and feeling upon contact with the shell. The shaft length for the Elastic Elves 6 Pro came in at 21.5cm too. In terms of the racket frame, the Elastic Elves 6 Pro has a very compact frame which measures at 23cm in height as well as 18cm in width. That actually makes it the smallest badminton racket frame I've come across thus far on the channel, and with more than half of the racket frame having recessed frame profile, this Elastic Elves 6 Pro is bound to be rapid on court. Frame thickness is also measured at 10.1mm, which is pretty normal for rackets nowadays. Additionally, some final measurements include an 18cm handle length on the racket as well as a slightly longer than usual total length of 675mm. All specs pointing towards a nice racket thus far. For racket weights, the Elastic Elves 6 Pro is available in 3 different racket weights, from 3U all the way through to 5U, and obviously I opted to test in my usual weight and grip size, the 4U G5 model. The specs of the racket is handily printed on the racket cone here, and for recommended stringing tensions, the Elastic Elves 6 Pro is rated up to 30 pounds of tension, and the stringing experience I've had with it was very pleasant. Not much flexing around the racket frame under tension, and I've strung it with my usual tension of 27 by 29 pounds for testing. Obviously, many of you familiar with the channel are aware that I don't take balance points as part of my measurements, as the measurements differ depending on what setups in terms of grips or even strains you put on. But when I mounted the racket strung with no added grip, I was pleasantly surprised when the balance point measurements matched the spec printed on the cone, so well done to JNICE on the quality control side of their production. So when I then gripped the Elastic Elves 6 Pro with my usual grip setup, the balance point obviously changed from the additional grip being added. For those of you nerdy ones like me, I plan to publish all these measurements on my website so you can compare them with your own rackets too. So the key question you're all asking, how does it feel? Was it as fast as it looked? And for those of you who have previously used a super compact frame racket before, you might be asking, were there any timing issues or was it challenging to time your shots? Don't worry, I'll answer them one by one. First off, yes, the Elastic Elves 6 Pro was fast, but also at the same time smooth. The compact head paired with the very slim shaft certainly made the Elastic Elves 6 Pro glide through the air very easily with less drag compared to wider and bigger rackets, so swinging the racket around was very pleasant. The longer racket handle also allowed me to hold the racket very high up if I needed more agility during defense or during counter attacks. Additionally, you would think that a solid shaft would feel quite stiff, but the Elastic Elves 6 Pro felt quite whippy to me. I can see that the scale on the racket shaft showed itself as an extra stiff and super head heavy racket, but from my test, I thought it wasn't as stiff and not as head heavy as the scale suggested, which is actually good news for us all, as it also means this racket is quite user friendly. The scale on the racket itself might be an internal scale for JNICE, but from a global perspective, I felt the head heaviness is something similar to a JNICE Astrox 77 Pro, which is slightly head heavy, but not excessively. The stiffness scale again is probably an internal scale, as I personally felt the Elastic Elves 6 Pro have quite a soft, pleasant hitting feeling, opposed to a very crisp and sharp feel. Again, on a global scale, I'd call this a medium stiff feeling racket. In terms of timing, yes, because the Elastic Elves 6 Pro is fast, you will need to adjust your hitting timing slightly, as you'll most probably be hitting too early as you will be swinging fast. However, I do want to add the adjustment period for the racket isn't very long, and within the next game or two, I was able to time my shots properly and did not have too much problems moving forward. Did I feel that the strings were stiffer than usual or the racket having a smaller than usual sweet spot due to the smaller head? Nope, not really. Conversely, I was actually pleasantly surprised that the Elastic Elves 6 Pro didn't have a smaller than usual sweet spot due to its compact racket head, and my strings felt responsive alongside the super cool semi-transparent grommets all around the racket. So in summary, I certainly found the Elastic Elves 6 Pro to be a very pleasant racket to play with. If you like something that's slightly head heavy with a medium stiff hit and feel, whilst being very fast with a slightly whippy shaft at the same time, this is certainly for you. For more information, go check out jnice.com.tw for more information, as JNICE also have an English site. For those of us who are not based in Taiwan, JNICE also details where to contact your closest JNICE retailer on their service-based page. If you're already in Taiwan, you can certainly buy direct from JNICE. I certainly enjoy seeing newer, younger badminton brands being very aggressive with the racket design and trying to push the envelope. Traditionally, if you look at a super compact racket head design alongside a super head heavy and extra stiff racket, at least on paper, you would think that this is a super demanding racket that won't be everyone's cup of tea. However, this Elastic Elves 6 Pro didn't turn out that way, and that turned out to be a pretty good experience. Have you tried any JNICE rackets before? I'll see you in the next one.